Let's get right into it. As a manager, you know your whole job is about making calls, usually with less information than you'd like. But what if you could take all of your company's past successes and failures and turn them into a crystal ball for the future? Well, that's exactly what we're talking about with AI-driven prediction. I mean, think about this one. It's the question that keeps people up at night, right? Get it wrong, and it costs you a ton of money. You're trying to figure out who's a flight risk based on a million tiny signals. It is the definition of a high-stakes, uncertain decision. Or how about this one? It's a constant balancing act. If you order too much, cash is just sitting on a shelf. But if you order too little, you're leaving money on the table. Every single day, you're making these kinds of critical calls basically flying blind. And let's be honest, these questions are nothing new. They really get to the heart of the managerial challenge. You have to make the best possible call when you simply can't know the future. And that uncertainty, it has a very real, very high cost. This is the fundamental tension of being a leader. Everyone expects you to have a sixth sense, to see around corners, to put your resources in exactly the right place. But in reality, you're navigating through a thick fog. But what if we could start to lift that fog? Well, that's precisely the problem a certain kind of AI was born to solve. So, how do we do it? How do we cut through all that uncertainty? The answer is a really cool concept called supervised learning. And the name itself tells you almost everything you need to know. You're not writing a bunch of complex rules, you're just showing the AI a ton of examples. I love this analogy of an apprenticeship at scale. Think about it. If you were training a new hire, you wouldn't just hand them a textbook. You'd sit with them and go through old case files, right? You'd say, see this one? This was a success. And this one? This one was a disaster. Supervised learning is just that, but for a machine, with millions of examples, happening in seconds. So what does this AI apprentice actually need to learn? Well, first, it needs training data. Those are all your past examples. Then it needs features, which are just the clues or the input signals, like a customer's purchase history. But the magic ingredient is the labels. This is the answer key, the known outcomes, like whether that customer churned or stayed. The machine crunches all that together to create a model, which is just its brain for detecting patterns. And the whole process is actually pretty straightforward. It really just boils down to 3 steps. First, you gather up all your historical data with the answers. Second, you let the algorithm train. This is where it has its aha moments, finding hidden connections. And finally, you unleash that trained model on new data to predict what's going to happen next. Okay, so what kind of problems can this thing actually solve for you? Well, they pretty much all fall into 2 big buckets. And knowing the difference is super helpful for any manager. On one side, you have classification. Think of this as sorting things into piles. It answers the question, which category does this belong to? Is an email spam or not spam? Is this transaction legit or fraudulent? Then on the other side, you have regression. This is all about predicting a specific number. It answers how much or how many. Like, what will our revenue be next quarter? Simple, right? What kind versus how much? All right, enough with the theory, let's get practical. This is where the rubber meets the road. Let's take a look at how this prediction playbook is being put to use across the entire business. We'll start with marketing and sales because, wow, the impact here is just massive. It's about getting smarter and faster about who your customers really are and what they're going to do next. Think about these use cases. With churn prediction, you're not just reacting when a customer cancels, you're proactively identifying them when they're at risk so you can do something about it. Or LTV prediction. This tells you which new leads are likely to be your future superstars so you can focus your energy there. You can even sift through thousands of social media comments to get an instant read on how people feel about your brand. It's a game changer. Now, let's pivot. We can apply this exact same thinking to your most valuable asset, your people. HR or people analytics is being completely transformed by this. It's the same idea as customer churn, but for your team. You can predict which top performers are a flight risk and step in before it's too late. Even better, you can look back at all your successful hires and have the AI find the hidden patterns, the real indicators of success, so you can screen and recruit much, much smarter. All right, let's move to the engine room of the company. In operations and supply chain, even a tiny improvement in your ability to predict the future can lead to absolutely massive savings. And check this out. Companies using AI for what's called demand sensing, which is basically listening to all kinds of real-time signals, not just past sales, are seeing a 20 to 50% leap in their forecast accuracy. That's not just a small tweak, that is a staggering improvement. And that accuracy translates directly into dollars and cents. Your forecasts get better, so you waste less money on inventory. You can predict when a machine is about to fail and fix it before it breaks down. You can even get ahead of supply chain disruptions. It's all about building a smarter, more resilient operation. And finally, we have to talk about finance and risk. To be honest, these folks were kind of the pioneers here. And for a simple reason, they were sitting on mountains of clean, historical data just waiting to be used. This quote from Amex just says it all. The precision is mind-blowing. Think about the two sides of that coin. They're catching way more bad guys, and they're annoying their good customers 50% less often by mistakenly declining their card. That's the incredible power of a really well-trained prediction model. So this brings us to what I think is the most important, most strategic point of this whole conversation. Because this technology doesn't replace you, no. It elevates your role and makes one specific human skill more valuable than ever before. And this right here is the critical distinction. The machine's job is prediction. It gives you the what. It says, hey, this customer has an 85% chance of leaving. But your job is judgment. You provide the so what. You have to ask, okay, but what's their lifetime value? Is it worth offering them a big discount to stay? Or are they unprofitable and we should just let them go? You see, as AI makes prediction cheap, your human judgment becomes priceless. So if there's just one thing you take away from all this, let it be this. All of that data sitting in your systems isn't just a boring record of the past. When you apply supervised learning, it transforms into a powerful predictive asset, one that lets you systematically chip away at the uncertainty you face every day. And that leaves me with one final question for you. I want you to really think about your own work, your team, your part of the business. If you could get a freakishly accurate answer to just one "what outcome should we expect" question, which question would that be? Which answer would create the most value? Because finding that question, that's the first step to putting all of this to work.